What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring all of you this evening before next week's trading week is going to kick off on Monday. So what we're going to be covering in this update are some of these screenshots that I've seen floating around that institutions own over 105% of AMC. We're going to go over just how valid these claims are, what the actual institutional ownership of AMC is right now, and how this specific number of ownership that we actually see is very, very important when we compare it to the short interest data. Now, I have also seen a lot of people talking about what the max Payne price is going into next week's trading week. We're going to take a look at what the max Payne price is, what the max Payne pinning theory essentially is, and what are the odds that we are going to gravitate to that $18 max Payne that we are seeing for this next week. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So again, guys, let's get right into the info here. This is the page that everybody is talking about for the institutional ownership for AMC. Now, there's a lot of inconsistencies here that I do want to go over with you guys, but I do want to make sure that everybody understands what's going on here before we kick off next week. Vanguard Group Inc. is the biggest individual institutional holder of AMC Holdings, owning a total of 47.2 million shares. That statement is correct. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Combined, the top 94 institutional holders of AMC own 105.97% of the company with a total of 542.4 million shares. That's a bit interesting. Well, let's scroll down a little bit and see how they're calculating this. So they look here, top institutions. Now, we have Vanguard listed 4 times. We have more than 4 times. We have BlackRock listed many times, State Street listed many times, Geode Capital Management listed many times. And the way that they are calculating this right now is they are taking this most recent institutional ownership period, the 13F filings that we have just received, and adding them onto the previous ones that we have already seen. So this 105% number is wildly inaccurate, but here's what AMC's institutional ownership is around at the current time. When we come over here to Fintel, we're looking at about 190 million shares that are held by institutions right now. Now, that number is pretty important. When we come over to NASDAQ too, the number is going to be a little bit lower depending on how they are calculating this and when they have actually kind of pulled the data from all of these 13Fs, but it's still very high. And NASDAQ has AMC's institutional ownership percentage at about 34.51%. And when you come down a little bit further, they say there's about 178 million shares held in total by institutions. But wait. When we compare this number over here to the shares on loan for AMC right now, either way, there are more shares on loan right now than the amount of shares that institutions are currently holding. So there's 2 things that we have to think about here. One, it is very obvious that institutions are loaning out shares of AMC right now. Now, it does make sense for them to do this because if they are holding a lot of these shares long and we are seeing these average cost to borrow numbers at these very, very high levels, well, they are able to collect a significant amount of interest on the position that they are holding. It's not benefiting us right now, but again, these institutions are not on our side. Having them buy these shares, yes, it does help input that initial buying pressure, but what we need to see after these shares go out on loan is one of those forced share recalls when they decide to potentially either get out or really want to benefit off of their long positions that we're seeing here. And again, with over 190 million shares on loan right now for AMC specifically, these numbers are absolutely insane, and we should continue to expect increases in cost to borrow due to the scarcity of shares that are in the securities lending market right now with the all-time high shares on loan that we are seeing. Now, in addition to this, I do want to talk very quickly about what we're seeing on GameStop going into next week's trading week. 20.61% estimated short interest, 39.12% average cost to borrow with 256% max cost to borrow. And again, again, 20.61% estimated short interest. Circling back to AMC very quickly, I don't think we talked about this number. We have about 22.44% estimated short interest. Again, guys, there is a very simple reason for why these estimated short interest numbers are a little bit lower, and that comes down to the exchange reported short interest coming in lower than what Ortex was actually estimating for AMC and GME short interest on the settlement date of May 31st. So no covering was happening. It's just a little bit of a recalibration of their numbers. Now, let's get into this potential for a 50% run, this max Payne theory, and if we are going to see this actually start to play out. So first, I want to give you guys a little bit of a definition of what max Payne price theory or what max Payne pinning actually is. So key takeaways here on Investopedia, max Payne or the max Payne price is the strike price on the option chain with the most open contract puts and calls and the price at which the stock would cause financial losses for the largest number of option holders at expiration. So remember, it's the strike price where the most amount of puts and calls are going to be expiring worthless, benefiting options market makers and institutional options sellers and hurting options buyers. The maximum Payne theory states that an option price will gravitate towards a max Payne price, in some cases equal to the strike price for an option that causes the maximum number of options to expire worthless. Now, what is the max Payne price going into next week's trading week for AMC? When we look here, AMC Entertainment, we've got it listed right here. We have the monthly options expiration date for June, and the max Payne price is $18 per share going into next week's trading week. Now, when we come over and take a look at what AMC is currently trading at over here at the close of Friday, $12.43. So that's about a 45 to 50% increase as of where AMC is sitting right now. Now, how likely is that? And why is the max Payne price so high right now? Well, when you look at this chart right here, you have to kind of look at this in terms of a push from the puts and a push from the calls. So the puts are going to push the max Payne price up if there are more puts on the options chain or in the money puts than there are calls, and calls are going to push that max Payne price down. Now, what are we looking at here going into next week for AMC? Well, we only have 7,000 calls in the money right now. So yeah, 7,000 calls in the money with 327,000 calls out of the money, but there's 120,000 put contracts in the money right now. So we would expect to see a max Payne price much higher than what we are currently trading at. Now, here's kind of where I see the problem of people betting on max Payne going through the rest of this week. Options are not static. You are not going to see the options chain open interest and volume stay flat going into the week. So max Payne is going to change, most likely in a pretty significant way, going throughout this week. And if we start to see a jump to the upside, we are most likely going to see more call buying. And remember that pushing of the calls, pushing the price of max Payne down. Well, max Payne could switch to 1750, 17, 16, 15. We could see that start to happen. And again, max Payne is a theory. There is no guarantee that prices of stock are going to finish at max Payne every single week. It does benefit market makers in a pretty significant way to pin the price there, but if it finishes around that price or around whatever max Payne is going to be by the end of next week and not necessarily exact, well, it's like getting an A+ versus an A- on your test. You still did very well, but you didn't necessarily get to that perfect score, if that makes sense. So guys, again, options are incredibly risky investments. If you do not know what you are doing, I would recommend being very, very careful with trading these very, very risky derivatives. The other thing that I kind of want to point you guys towards as well are two key important things. We are going to be receiving statements from Jerome Powell on Wednesday. We are most likely going to get another rate hike. And after the CPI data print came in hot on Friday, we most likely are looking at some more volatility going into next week's trading week. And looking at the 4-hour time frame for AMC right now, we are seeing a little bit of a cross down on the 4-hour. Now, we do have a potential double bottom level right here down at that 1185 level. We would like to see the MACD start to cross back up to the upside too. But again, for me to really confirm a very, very bullish move, we've said this many, many times, I want this 1348 cross to the upside, closing candles, volume, and momentum above above this 200 EMA. So that is going to wrap up this update for AMC. If you guys enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I will see you guys in the next one.